What's up, guys? I'm your host, Sean Kramer, and this is the Vikings. Wait, that sounded really weird. What's up, guys? Let's go! You can't do that on Tyreek Hill. And we decided to do the exact thing that we know we can't do against the Bears, which is run the ball. Let's go! What? No! For the win! No! The Vikings finally beat Russell Wilson. So in this episode, you might be wondering why I have my mic here. I'm trying to experiment with a new setup, hanging my mic from the bottom of my mattress. Anyway, so I like starting with weird side tangents like that. Let's get into this video finally. Start off, Kevin O'Connell finally got hired as the 10th head coach in Minnesota Vikings history. So, you might remember back in like the pretty early on in the head coaching, I don't know what you'd call it. I think DeMeco Ryans was like the favorite to become head coach. Kevin O'Connell was not a favorite early on, and whoops, I spelled his last name wrong. Come on. I said OK online, not OC online. So yeah, Kevin O'Connell was not a popular opinion for head coach, but ever since I heard that Jim Harbaugh was a potential candidate, I wanted him so bad. And then Purple for the Win mentioned that it's like at one point it was like a 1% chance of getting it, but you know, sometimes that 1% chance ends up happening, and it was looking like it was going to, because Jim Harbaugh was looking like he was going to the Vikings. Really, there was like three options. One, he would go back to Ann Arbor. Sadly, he did. Two, he would go to the Raiders. And three, he would go to the Vikings. And the Raiders signed Josh McDaniels as head coach, which already means, you know, they're going to suck next year. Because other than Mike Vrabel, no assistant coach under Bill Belichick has ever turned into a good actual head coach. Mike Patricia was terrible with the Lions. Who else was there? That's the only one I can think of right off the bat. Never mind, yeah, that's the only one I can think of. So, and also Josh McDaniels was never good with the Broncos back in like the early, I think it was like the late 2000s and early 2010s maybe. Why is this? I don't know why this keeps on splashing. So, yeah, Josh McDaniels, when I found out that he was going to the Raiders, I was like, ha, good luck. And then it was starting to look super obvious, like a 99% chance that Jim Harbaugh was going to the Vikings, and 99% chance because I meant if we offered him the job, he would come here. It was like we were on the 1 yard line, and we were Pete Carroll. We didn't offer him the job, and he went back to Ann Arbor. Because, yeah, we didn't offer him the job. It was clear if he got offered the job, he would have taken it. But I guess the Wilfs, they didn't bring him cake, so you know he wants his cake now. If you got that, you're a freaking goat, because that was in the first NFL Battle of Breeding. So then Kevin O'Connell became what the future head coach of the Vikings, like the next guy that was going to be the head coach of the Vikings after Jim Harbaugh decided not to come. Well, really, because the Wilfs decided not to give him the job. Now, I'm just glad that the Vikings actually have a head coach now, because yeah, not having a head coach is not a super comfortable feeling. Now, this has been a really popular topic for a while. Where is Kirk going? Is he going to leave? It was looking like he was actually going to leave a little while ago, and that the Vikings might actually trade for Baker Mayfield. And I made a YouTube short about that last Thursday. No, I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. But I said, if we're trading for 2020 or 2018 Baker Mayfield, then I'm okay with it. I'd still prefer Kirk Cousins, but if we're talking like Baker Mayfield now, no, I don't want my quarterback to throw Never mind, I was thinking the wrong guy. I don't want my quarterback to not be able to win us the game when the other quarterback throws 4 interceptions, like when they lost 14-10 against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson couldn't throw a completion to save his life. Thinking we also intercepted Matthew Stafford 3 times and still lost the game because our offense was horrible. Okay, and also, gotta remember, Kevin O'Connell what was the coach, I think the offensive coordinator of the Redskins back when Kirk Cousins was there. In like 2017 and 16, he was their offensive coordinator. And then I think Kevin O'Connell went to the Rams. Let's see, so it was like 2 years ago or something. So it's probably like 2019 or so. I'm not quite sure, but he played with Kirk Cousins, so you cannot convince me that he would not want to have Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins was not bad with the Redskins. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. And so yeah, Kirk Cousins, I'd want him to stay. I think it's looking like he definitely is staying. And now, so seeing about the guys that he has coached with, and it turns out that Kevin O'Connell was actually calling the plays for the Rams last year. I saw that on the title of a YouTube video, so it might not be true, but based on that, I'm just assuming that that was true, and that he was calling the plays for the Rams. And so let's see, back in like 2018, just not too long ago, when he was with the Redskins, he played with Adrian Peterson, who is still very reliable back then. Let's see, that was 2018. Adrian Peterson ran for 1,000 yards. 2019 ran for 898 yards. I know, it really annoyed me that he was 2 yards off. Actually, Frank Gore had 599 yards in 2019, which was funny. So he had Adrian Peterson, the best running back of our generation, with them, and still a reliable running back at that time. And he also had Terry McLaurin, who was a rising star wide receiver back then. I think it was like a rookie or second-year player. And then he goes to the Rams and and coaches with guys like Jared Goff, not Sony Michel, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Ronald Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Higbee. Not sure if they had Gerald Everett last year. I think they did though. So he's played with a lot of great talent, and he turned the Rams offense into a very good offense. And now let's see what he has with the Vikings. Now, I've mentioned this many times, especially talking about why the Vikings should have the best offense in the league. He has Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison plus C.J. Ham, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, K.J. Osborne, Amir Smith-Marset, Tyler Gronklin, and Irv Smith Jr. behind one of the better offensive lines in the league. I think a couple years ago they were one of the worst, but now they're actually pretty good. Like the last 2 years, our offensive line has allowed one of the lowest totals in sacks and pressures in the entire league. So you have an offensive play caller with the most talented offense in the league. I'd like to say that's true. Meanwhile, there are teams like our offense is more talented than the Chiefs' offense. They have 3 really good targets. We do too. Well, okay, maybe not 3 really good targets, but I think we have more talent. I'd say we definitely have more talent than the Chiefs' offense does. We also have more. I'd say we might have more talent than the Buccaneers do, than the Packers do, than the Ravens do, than the Rams do. And who else? The Cowboys. Those are some of the best offenses in the league, some of the most talented offenses, and I think we have more talent than them because we have, gosh, I'm losing my breath right now. I'd say probably a top 15 quarterback, Kirk Cousins, a top 3 running back. I'd say, other than Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook is the best running back in the league. I'd say possibly the best number 2 running back in the league, other than maybe like Kareem Hunt. The best fullback in the league, C.J. Ham. The best blocking fullback, one of the best receiving fullbacks, a great running fullback too. I don't know why my oldest brother William doesn't like him that much. I really like him. He's the definition of a great master of all trades. He can do anything for you. And then we also have might say a top 3 receiver in the league. Last year he was the second best receiver in receiving yards, just behind Cooper Kupp, who had like 1947, and then Justin Jefferson had 1616. It's crazy how big of a discrepancy there was between number 1 and number 2. So, yeah, possibly a top 3 running back and receiver, and then Adam Thielen, who is probably a top 5 or maybe top 10 number 2 receiver in the league. And also KJ Osborne, who's one of the best number 3 targets in the league. Plus Amir Smith-Marset, who has actually shown some good flashes last year. D.D. Westbrook, I'm not a big fan of him. I was happy we signed him last year because he had some decent numbers with the Jaguars for a number 3 guy, but he did nothing for us really last year. So if we cut him, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd rather have Amir Smith-Marset. Plus, he's a lot younger. And then we also have Tyler Gronklin, who is he's not one of the best tight ends in the league, but he's a very reliable tight end. And then Irv Smith, he's yet to prove himself. He hasn't really done much at all since we drafted him. But we have so much talent that if Kevin O'Connell can't turn us into a top 5, probably top 3 offense in the league, then that will just be straight up disappointing. Anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell, comment what videos you'd like to see, and as always, never forget, the practical always suck, and Skol Vikings.